How do you see AI changing the SEO industry?
Dramatically. I think that number one, first and foremost, content writing is gonna be all AI by the end of the year. It's inevitable. ChatGPT was really the first, I think, piece of AI software that we've really looked at, and like not just like, oh, Terminator, this is coming in the future, but this is here right now, and this thing is actually really useful. We're using it to do keyword research. We're using it to write page titles. We've already implemented into our everyday processes, right? Which is amazing as a business owner because it saves my team time. And me and actually I have a partner named Caesar. He's a director of operations. We talked about it last week that we may never have to hire another person at the agency, which is
Wow.
pretty freaking amazing, right?
Yeah.
Both for us as business owners, but also for our team, because that means our team, we can do much more like a revenue sharing, pushing the money back to them based on output, which really changes the dynamic in our favor as agencies, right? So I think it's going to change things like content writing. I think Google put all the PR that they want, but they don't have an answer for it. That there will be there's always levels to everything, right? I think like thought leadership content will still come from humans, but it will still be prompted through an AI interface. Like we're just going to lose the ability to write as humans because it's just not going to make sense anymore. Like we'll still give it prompts, we'll still give it directives, we'll still give it the information that it needs, but like the days of sitting down and writing 8 hours on a blog post to me are gone. And if you're still doing that, then like it's just gone, you know? So that's one. I think that tools in the coming years, like I think a lot of tools that we see are going to change. Like they're going to be extinct if they're not working on it, because to me, what AI, I'm dying for this to come out. I was QAing a website the other day and I'm like, there should be a robot doing this. Like there's no reason why I should be going through and like reviewing stuff, spending hours of my time. There will be a time soon where we give it prompts and it will build a whole website for us. Page titles, all the SEO, URL structures. It will just know exactly what to do based on Google's public guidance for what they want, right? So I think that's another big shift, will be just tools actually doing the work for us. Completely done for you solutions, which is going to democratize and change the industry in a lot of ways as well. And I think the final way, that's a little bit further down the road. I think that's probably like 2 to 5 years maybe. But I do think that it's going to be interesting when ChatGPT 4 comes out, because I do think it's going to take a massive bite out of Google's market share, right? I was actually talking about this to my media buying consultant on the call before this. We were just chatting about AI and how it's going to impact. We have a client who's in the SEO software space, and I'm like, this client doesn't want to face the music that the industry is changing, and that people just like things are changing rapidly, and they're tripling down on like product, like features and benefits of their software. I'm like, yo, this is not relevant right now at all anymore, you know? And I think that Google's had such a long run as a monopoly of the market share that the product has gone to shit. Like the search results are not good. They're not helpful anymore, you know? Like they're slow. You have to dig through multiple sites. We know that SEOs have ruined the game in terms of just jamming it with content that is just meant to beat the algorithm. It's not overly helpful. It's not overly useful. It's not what people are looking for. So I think that especially once this type of technology is integrated into hardware, right? Like our phones, it's going to change. Like market share is going to shrink down to nothing. I think it's going to be similar to what happened with Facebook when Instagram came out, right? The older folks stay on, like the boomers are on Facebook, right? And then millennials are on Instagram, and now Gen Z's on TikTok. The millennials are on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's gonna be the same thing with search engines. I think that there's a level of comfortability that, you know, like my parents' generation has with using Google. They're not going to use anything else unless it's hand fed to them. So I think that Google will always be there, and I think that they're going to have their own solution to ChatGPT. But I also just think that it's a situation where once it's integrated into mobile phones like Apple, then it's a wrap. You know, like people are just not going to use Google for a lot of things. And I think that what we see now with small questions like recipes or travel advice, something like that, like ChatGPT is great for it. You know, what it's not good with is purchase intent product driven stuff. Like I need a pair of size 10 white sneakers, you know, it doesn't know that yet, but I think that it will start to figure it out based on, again, once it's integrated into our hardware, based on our purchase history, based on our browsing history, it's going to understand those things more. Now that does, as I said, it opens up things for marketers who are forward thinking, and they're not going to be like, oh, Google's always going to be Google, it's blah, blah, blah. Like, no, I think that the marketers who are smart and understand that, and like I said, we're selling to people, and these things in between us, Google, Facebook, Instagram, ChatGPT, they're just medium, right? Like our job is to not to be a master of the medium, right? That's a sub requirement of what we do, but it's to sell to other people at the most profitable way, the most effective and efficient way possible for our businesses or for our clients, right? And a lot of people in the SEO industry are romantic and are going to go down with the ship because they believe that SEO is God and Google is king, and they don't want to change, and that's fine. But like, if that's you, like you're going to lose a lot of money and you're putting your family at jeopardy because You can't be romantic about these things. You know, I've been doing this long enough now for almost 15 years that I've seen platforms come and go very quickly, you know, like very, very quickly. And if you go down with it, you're going to go down with it, you know? So like your job as a marketer is not like this. I say this all the time and I get so much shit from it on people on Twitter and LinkedIn, but like your job is not an SEO, like you're a marketer. We've gotten so romantic about these channels, especially the SEO industry, that like, I don't know, I think it's just dumb. That's all I do, because you're going to go down with it, and you're literally caving in your future for your family if you're going to do that. Like your job is to sell stuff to other people. And somewhere along the line, this industry got so bloated, so ego driven, so obsessed with arguing over whether or not a title tag matters while Google's laughing all the way to the bank, that we forgot what we're really doing here, right? And that's marketing. That's making the life of sales easier, right? It's driving customers, it's acquisition, it's building businesses. And so many SEOs don't understand that and the fundamental part of it. And that's why they're struggling now, and they're going to continue to struggle in the future, because it's not about Google. It's not about ranking websites. Who gives a shit? It's about making money. That's it. And selling to other people. And that this technology is going to have a massive impact on how people find products. It's not going to be through Google anymore. It's going to be through other mediums. If you don't adapt, if you're not open to adapting, then
yeah, it's kind of over, isn't it? You have to adapt at every point, and
have to.
A lot of SEOs will have to pivot, won't they?
100%. And that's the thing too, is that it's not necessarily a pivot. If you look at it, like, I think a lot of SEOs are married to Google. They're like not search engine optimizers, they're geos, they're Google optimized, which is fine. I have been too, because that's what owns the market share. But technology like this, like I said, like in 2 years, when Apple rolls out an update where it has an AI assistant on your phone that you're going to ask everything to, and the more that you ask it, the more it's going to learn your preferences and what you like and how to feed you the information that you like, then the less people are going to use Google. But again, at the same time, there's going to be a process to still get new product and new recommendations in front of people through that technology. If you're open to learning that and shifting your focus to say, I understand now, my role is not to beat my chest and get on stage and talk about how great I am at optimizing Google and ranking Google. And again, Google is like, it's so stupid, but like Google like doesn't, they're laughing all the way to the bank. How we bicker with each other over stuff that like, it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. If you want to go down with that ship and continue doing that, fine. If you're open to understanding that that's not what your role is. Your role is to help businesses get found through search, period, whether that's Amazon search or, and again, these are subsets of search, right? Not just Google search, but potentially AI search and AI product recommendations. Like there's going to be a whole new process for that happening. How do we do that? I don't have the answer to that. Nobody does, but that's going to be the next $1 million question, is how do we get our products and services in front of people through this AI technology, this AI search, these AI conversations, whatever that technology is going to look like, which we still don't know. That's where things are going, you know, and that's what we need to be open to adapting to.
Yeah, it's a crazy world out there.
100%. They're changed. They've already changed. And that's the thing, is that like I go on Twitter and LinkedIn and like I see people that, I'll say it, like the head of content from Ahrefs tweeted this out, and I was like, he said, can everyone shut the about ChatGPT already? And I'm like, that's the exact type of like mentality that's going to burn that company to the ground, dude. People are talking about it because it's impactful. This isn't like a Bored Ape NFT that people are paying like $1 million for just off of straight hype. Like this is actually has utility. This is happening, and people are using this on an everyday basis to cut out human effort and cut out human energy. And I think a lot of people are just resistant to change out of fear, right? And especially a content-driven company like that, yeah, your job is gone, dude. You just don't even know it yet, you know? And instead of being, fuck ChatGPT, you can stop talking about it. You should be like, I need to be spending every single waking minute figuring out how I'm going to leverage this to not just keep my job available, but to profit. Like this is the next thing, you know, like this is the next frontier. The businesses that adapt this and understand how to fit into their processes and make their lives easier and increase margins and efficiency and get better results for clients are the ones that are going to win. It's that simple, right? Like we don't have to go out and develop AI tools, but like we do have to understand how to leverage it, because if we don't, it's like being a farmer 100 years ago and being like, no, I'm still going to till the land by hand, when there's a freaking tractor doing it 100 times faster. You're not going to have a farm for very long. You're just not.
I can imagine a lot of SEOs listening to this would feel almost threatened by it.
100%. They should.
But they should be looking for the opportunities as well, right?
That's kind of the whole point. You know, my delivery on this stuff is always a little bit more to be like slap you in the face, but like that's just what it is. Like I feel like people need it a little bit, because there's been so much energy and attention around this, and rightfully so. Again, AI is not new. Like we've known this is coming, but this is the first application. I'll never forget, I was sitting outside my backyard by the pool with my wife, and I saw somebody tweet about it. This is like the day when it started going viral, and I was like, okay, let me check this out. And I opened it up and I started using it, and I'll never forget, I looked over at my wife and I was like, we might be fucked, man. like we might be screwed. This is now here and it's now happening. But again, that was 6 weeks ago, right? So I've really taken a lot of time and stepping back and listening to people that I respect and playing with the technology and understanding it. And now we've actually gone through and we have a whole toolkit that we built for agencies as part of the blueprint training that runs on Google Sheets. And now we're going through and we're automating it using ChatGPT's API. Like it's writing page titles for us, it's writing metas, restructuring URL slugs. It's actually going to make decisions for us based on like a set of logic that we give it. So yeah, I'm like, actually, this is could be the best thing that's happened to us in a while. Like I really want to push this as fast as we possibly can because there's a huge opportunity here over the next 8 months before the next version of GPT-4 comes out that we can really make some money off this thing, you know? And that's kind of the scariest thing about all this. If you take a step back, right, and understand the window of opportunities that we have as humans when it comes to business, they're shrinking. They're getting smaller and smaller, right? We're talking about things like going all the way back to the Industrial Revolution, right? 50 years. We're talking about like the stock market boom in the 80s, like, I don't know, 10 to 20 years, right? We're talking about the dawn of the internet, right? That was a good 15-year period up until now, right? We're talking about things like crypto, right? Would you have like maybe a year and a half, 18 months on that? We're talking about NFTs. Like the reward has gone up. The amount of money that people are making has gone up, but the window for opportunity is shrinking. When GPT-4 comes out, just based on what I've seen from it, it could devastate a lot of businesses, right? So we got to go out here and be aggressive and be open-minded and take advantage of stuff we can. Because if you're sitting back and being like, oh no, I played with it and like, it's not taking my job yet. Like that's a fear mentality, as opposed to being like, this isn't ready to write full blog posts yet because it's just not that great, but I can use it to write all my subheadings. I can use it to do all the research. I can use it to do all my citations for the post. It'll 10x your productivity on that. And instead of being fearful about it, saying, F this, can you stop talking about it because you're scared of it? You should have an open mind and be aggressive about it because that's what business owners do. That's what entrepreneurs do. Like this is an opportunity that we have in front of us. And instead of cowering away from it and shying away from it, embrace it because it's happening. It doesn't matter if you think it's not or not, like it's going to happen and it's already happening. So like we have a window of opportunity here over the next year off this version of it to really do some damage, like really do some damage.